Trust me, universally positive ratings, BBC One original series, watched on Disney Plus. Jodie Whittaker, Alfred Enoch, Blake Harrison. It showed promise, but it just wasted it. Only Murders in the Building, universally positive ratings, the original series, watched on Disney Plus. Selena Gomez, Cara Delevingne. It's good. How I Met Your Father, universally negative ratings, so watched it. The original series, I watched it on Disney Plus. Josh Peck, Kobe Smulders, Paddy Brewster, Cameron Gladwin. It's good. Dopesick, universally positive ratings, the original series, I watched it on Disney Plus. Michael Keaton, Caitlin Dever, Will Poulter, Rosario Dawson, Kate McDormand. Initially, first, I'm gonna say 20 minutes. It's bad, but it does get good. Final review, Strikeback. This is gonna cover all of Strikeback, and not just an individual season, because I don't count the individual seasons as different shows, because for some reason Sky and Virgin do. So when I started off the show and had it all downloaded on the Skybox, it was there 8 times, one for each season. It's just stupid. All of it's great. The Richard Armitage years, I forget your man's name. I'm very sorry. It's good. The Warren Brown years are also good. The best one is the one I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. Damien Scott, Michael Stonebridge, the characters. I don't like the fact that when they were first introduced, they immediately got a positive reception, but when Mac and Wyatt were introduced, Warren Brown and Daniel McPherson, they didn't. The entire season 6 got bad ratings, I think, just because of the new characters. When there wasn't anything wrong with them, I think it's just because they have 4 seasons of Scott and Stonebridge. So it was sad to see them go, but with Porter and Collinson, you only had them for 6 episodes, so it wasn't that big of a let go, if you know what I mean. But anyway, all of it is fantastic. This Twitter as of 6 p.m. On Thursday, 12th of May 2022. So City Can has went to a cannabis factory in LA and decided maybe we should rethink this cannabis stuff. But it just makes it seem like he got high and got addicted to it and realized, oh, I can't be caught smoking weed when it's illegal in my country, so I better make it legal, or at least for London. I was going to look and see if they give a reason why Hilary Duff didn't want to do I Met Your Father, but they probably did, but it's just too long to read. But throughout the article, they did call the show a sequel to How I Met Your Mother. It's not really a sequel, it's more of a reboot, because a sequel would imply that it's the original cast returning. I know that Robin is back, and we move into the apartment that Marshall and Lily had. But it's just... that doesn't make it a sequel. Gay Times, best countries in Europe for LGBTQ plus rights. Number 1, Poland. I'm kidding. Number 1, England. I'm not kidding. Dang, what do you do for a living? Crypto. Ah, same. Rick really needs to learn to shut his whore mouth. Democracy and unionization is communist. Interesting. You seem to support unaccountable power for an individual as long as you promote your individual interests. Good chat, fascist. You just argued in favour of using democracy to violently seize the property of others, theft on a massive scale. Free speech promotes the interest of all individuals, is why communists like you hate it so much. Imagine being called libertarian fascists, LMFAO. Something that has been called, Marx has been called a libertarian fascist, and so have the butterflies on Peacemaker. Crap, it got logged again. So if you accept the common ownership of means of production is communism, then why get angry with anyone who points out that government state ownership of means of production by a ruling class cannot therefore be communism? It's just laughable that you think millions of people can reach a unanimous consensus of who gets what. The only solution to that would be to create some kind of administration with authority to decide such things. Guess what that is? Also, hands off my money. Get your own. Firstly, if you think money will exist after communism replaces capitalism, then you don't really know what communism is. That's not what he's trying to say, you retard. In order to set up your communist utopia, you need money to be able to do it. You need funds for resources that you need. So, communism won't be able to exist in the way that you want it to exist without having to go through some capital first. Dumbass. And there'll also be no need for consensus as to who gets goods and services. Those would be freely available in shops, etc., according to self-defined needs. Self-defined needs. I have schizophrenia. Can I have some schizophrenia meds? My evidence of me having schizophrenia is I said so. Give me my meds. Firstly, if you think that communal ownership has the ability to define capital commodity values without a central currency, then you don't have the faintest clue about basic economics. Secondly, I have self-defined that I need a Lamborghini. Gib. Communist production of goods and services will be according to needs. The alternative to monetary calculation in terms of exchange values, calculation in kind in terms of use values. Okay, I need a Lamborghini. Basically, the whole wheel communism has never been tried as a trope. It has been many times. It just has an inevitable end result that you just don't like and refuse to acknowledge. And now we get to see your illogical, it's been tried response, despite having earlier admitted that communism means the whole society collectively owning the means of production, which no population has yet managed. Do you know what state capitalism is? Yeah, but the thing is that, like, if you were to set up communism in an entire country, then there you go, that is your communist utopia. And guess what? That has been successfully done multiple times. Well, by successfully I mean successfully set up, not successfully run. Right? China is a communist country. It's not a country that has communist parts to it. It is communist all over China. And now we get to illogical. It's been tried response. Says the guy making the illogical. It's never been tried response. I repeat, it has been many times. Those examples that you like to say are not real communism, are the inevitable end results of communism. Whether you like it or not, those results will always happen. Doesn't matter how many times you say, we will get it right this time. You cannot avoid that outcome. But obviously you'll keep trying. Doesn't matter how many bodies stack up. Oh yeah, this is where you post all the deaths by capitalism infographics that are all totally not huge reaches. The difference between the amount of people that have died under communism and the amount of people that have died under capitalism is that communism is mostly the direct fault of those people dying, whereas capitalism is mostly not the direct fault of those people dying. Because say the entire world was capitalist and we all died from, say, a meteor that killed us all. That means 7 billion people have died under capitalism, but that's not capitalism's fault. Whereas for communism, most people dying in communist countries or starving to death or being gulagged. Those are both direct faults of your communist utopias. What's this rhetoric tactic of saying I'm wrong, then providing a quote which is exactly what I said? Hobbes thinks libertarian communes should be able to ban and exile all existing members of society, part of any group. So as I said, bourgeois democracy is better than Hobbes libertarianism. No, you did not provide a full quote. Then what? Then when you expanded on it, it turns out it wasn't even quote you were talking about. Pointing out incorrect claims is rhetoric. You didn't say anything. You cried moo black people and tried to make it look like he was. So when libertarian communes start flourishing across the globe, will there be a mass exodus which is ethnically proportionate? Well, I don't know any black people that live in my village because it's a village, and we're a majority white country because blacks did not originate from Northern Ireland. They originated from Africa. That's why they call them African Americans, even if they're not America or from America at all. But let's just say that there were like a 50-50. In fact, let's say 90% white, 10% black in my village. And my village became a libertarian commune. We're not going to kick out all the black people because we're not racist. There'll be racist communes, but though, and or if those communes are racist, then yeah, you can say that these are racist communes because it is a 100% racist population. There might be some racists in our village commune. I don't know what the population of my village is, but if there's one racist, then that doesn't make it a racist commune. If this one racist person is out in the street going to kick out the black people from our commune, that doesn't make my village a racist commune. What is so hard to understand? Also, this all started from that Rick guy. As soon as Rick was done arguing, or when he said he was done arguing with Mark, that's when the verified communist party or socialist party, whatever, started getting in because they're a bunch of pricks. Let's infer motivation from ICOM, an American political theorist saying communes can exile and ban certain groups from entering LMAO. I have no idea. Most people would want to live with those more ideologically closer to them instead of racial lines. Yeah, Hobbes also says the left libertarians will be educated into conformity law. What happens if they're not? They get exiled too. Where's the libertarianism? It sounds like social fascism and economic liberalism. Looks like the moral considerations overpower libertarian ideals. Yeah, I can tell by what you just said that you haven't read a single thing he has written. You just cherry pick comments, LMAO. Basically, if a person owns property, be black, gay, white, Catholic, whatever, that's your property to give it if you please. However, some property owners and communities might seek to exclude such people and not sell any property to them, so they're not in the community. For example, actually, I'm not going to say that because I think I might give away like the village I live in, because there is something going on, and that with the thing that is going on, I'd say that person involved is an exile of our community. But it's not because of his race, gender, anything like that. I don't even know his race or gender, or I'm just going to say his. I'm going to assume it's his because of what has happened. It's because he is allegedly a monster. I haven't seen any evidence. It's just it's been very publicly announced that this man is a monster. I'm not going to say exactly what his monstrous act is, because I haven't seen evidence and I don't want to give away where I live. Libertarianism, too fundamental, is private property, meaning you can choose yours on your private property. This is like basic day one stuff. If you exile someone who owns land in a place, how has their private property been respected? Exactly. You can't. And Hobbes never advocated for such a thing. He advocates that people who own private property can get the choose who can enter their private property. Your last reply fully confirms you haven't read any Hobbes. You just quote mined. Targeting a specific race when it was... I think I've read this, but just in case I haven't, basically you try to make a racism play, misrepresent that information, and it backfired, then you move the goalposts a bunch, which is rhetoric, by the way. Hell, have I read this? Yes, I have. This is true, though. Hoppe does believe the communes can exile black people. Yeah, but you keep on saying that. And the more you say it, the more likely it seems that the supposed black people being exiled aren't being exiled because they're black. So, if you want to prove your point, shut your mouth. I've not moved any goalposts. You literally believe this, or wrote it down. Give the quote. Look up the book, or whatever. Screenshot where he says that, and send it in. Let me ask again. Why are you leaving out all the various other groups he also listed in several of these quotes? And why only focusing on black people? Why did you mention none of the many others he included, even including himself? Because when an American political theorist is talking about the ability to exile groups from society, you can't imagine this is a priority. The historical context of America biases the real-world impact. Hoppe obviously knows this, which is why he's been criticized so much for it. Hoppe is German and lives in Turkey, you idiot. He only studied in America. If he mentioned only blacks, then you would have a point, but he didn't. He mentioned dozens of others. You're just really reaching to make your non-point stick. Isn't he still an American professor, and didn't he publish in English? He is a member of some American intellectual societies, and since when does publishing in English make you an American? He didn't even go to America until he was in his 30s. Right. So, what Mark is trying to say is that the first time I went to America, I was 7. Which would seem I'm more American than he is, but guess what? I'm not American at all. So his books are written in English and published in America. I don't see how this debunks what I said about American social context. You said that him writing his books in English and being published in America makes him American. You're refuting your own point. Because when an American political theorist, so you walk this point back and admit it was totally incorrect. Cole, let's say, is aware of social context of America. Let me repeat myself again. If he only mentioned blacks, you would maybe have a point, but he didn't. You seem hell-bent on making this about him hating black people, but unfortunately facts are not on your side. Here's even more quotes for you. He mentioned several groups, even Germans like himself. Is he prejudiced against Germans then? Oh no, but that's fine because they're all Nazis because of what happened 70 years ago. If he credibly knows that Germans will be disproportionately affected were his ideology to be put in practice, yes, he would be prejudiced against Germans, but he doesn't, so he's not. You could say the exact same thing about him talking about black people, because what he said about the Germans is what he said about black people. So, if he doesn't hate Germans, then he doesn't hate black people. You don't know that black people would be evil. This is all whataboutery. You don't have a point yet. You're still trying to make it. I do have to admire the insistence. You could credibly call it speculation, but it's justified speculation. I'm making a priori judgment based on the likelihood of outcome. It's most likely that any variety of historically oppressed groups would be the would be most negatively affected by the exile ban rule. They could only be exiled if they were trespassing on property that did not belong to them. Last check, no one was allowed to trespass on private property. And people may choose to not do business with them. Should we force people to do business with people? Also, all it means is they would then buy property in areas where people wanted to sell them property and do business with them, or even form their own communes where they could reject everyone else. This is a major achievement in conflict avoidance. Why are you against it? I'm against population transfer and exile and established citizens because intercommunal conflict is inevitable and forced exodus is immoral. It's not forced exodus. I think you're brand new to libertarianism, so let me go over private property. If you own a house, that's your property. Under libertarianism, think of the borders of your property as its own country that you're president of. You make the rules, the regulations, everything. Grow opium in your back garden if you want to. No one can remove you from your property and you have a right to defend it. This applies to every property owner regardless of race, religion, etc. Meaning you cannot force someone out of their privately owned property. However, as a property owner, you can choose who comes onto your property, or maybe you own a block of flats. You can choose who gets to rent them for any reasons you so desire. Including you just don't like them, or you're a racist. And while both those things are wrong, you shouldn't kick people out for their race or just because you don't like them. Unless you have a justified reason, like they're blasting music too loud. Then, no, that's a bad. But there's nothing. I don't even know what my point there was, but I'm just gonna continue. Maybe you want a store and you want to choose who you do and do not serve at your store. This is the end goal of libertarianism: full, complete control of your property, meaning no one else has any right to your property, your body, or your services. I'll give you an example. My dad just go to a DVD rental store every Sunday, and I would go in there with him, and I would chase my brother around the shop. And I don't know if I caused any damage, but we both got indefinitely banned from that shop. It's shut down now though, so. But it wasn't because we were white. It's because we were being pricks. Although we were like 6. I was 6, he would have been 2. And so a black family owns a house, that is their property and theirs alone. They cannot be removed, nap and all that. But if they wanted to buy a different house and the owner chooses not to sell it to them, well, that's the owner's choice since it's his property. To force the owner to have to sell his house to someone he doesn't want to means that regulations over property exist, which means that it's not libertarianism. For God's sake, man, shut up! You've been proved wrong! Your argument doesn't follow on a claim that were his ideals to be enacted, they would have desperate outcomes. Desperate outcomes Hop is aware of. If he's justifying negative outcomes biased against a certain group, that's obviously immoral based on a certain group. Cool, except he doesn't mention or target a certain group. He mentions dozens of groups, even his own group. Why do you keep insisting on making a point that has been disproven? If my words can't get past your denial, then I might be wasting my time. Yes, Marcus, you have a child. Go, be a dad to Sadie. I'm not saying in his writing he singled out a particular group. Well, I'm saying the praxis of his ideology would. This is because of the American social context of which he is fully aware. Except that is what you said right here, where you left out all the other groups to make it look like he was targeting black people. Do you remember writing this, or are you just going to pretend this never happened? I quoted that myself earlier. Oh well, then Marcus's point is disproven, I guess, and must be a double negative. Just means you didn't say it at all. So something like they've forgotten about it. What is in that quote is still completely correct. Hop does believe that if I say I like vanilla ice cream, and I'll say there are no other types of ice cream I enjoy. Cool, except you left out all the other groups you mentioned in the quote because you wanted to make it look like he specifically hated black people. Because that's the point you wanted to make and are still trying to make. You even twisted quotes to try and make it that point and failed. But good lord, that didn't stop you from quadrupling down. God, were you that friend when you were a kid, weren't you? Well, Marcus is a Nazi, so he must be wrong 24/7. Oh, wait, it was a joke. See, you know he's been backed into a corner because now he has to go, oh, well, you're a Nazi, so... Have a look at what communism and socialism is. Did China, Russia, Cuba, etc. ever have no ruling class, no state, no buying and selling, no wage labour? They had all these, so why try to insist communism isn't tried when it is so obvious that it is not? Okay, I really need to dumb this down even more, but I'll do my best. We'll pretend I'm teaching a nursery class. Timmy, I want you to shove Lego up your nose. And I know you'll think the end result is it'll be funny, but every time you do it, you hurt yourself and then we need to take a trip to the doctor. I know what you want to happen, Timmy, but that isn't what's going to happen. So please stop sticking Lego up your nose. Okay, I really need to dumb this down. Yes. And you see what Marx said that communism was, and then you look at what existed in China, the Soviet Union, etc., which clearly went against everything Marx had wanted. You know why? Because it is impossible to get what Marx wanted. Marx wanted paradise, but paradise is impossible. This is the real world. Grow up, pussy. The only thing you can do then is try and dumb things down. Holy crap, sorry man, but I'm done. I've explained this to you so many times, but for some reason your brain is just blocking all of it out. Sure, Russia, China, etc. wasn't really communism. Just try it again. I'm sure it will turn out totally different this time. They just didn't do it right. I'm sure if you do the exact same thing again, it will turn out completely different this time. Kumbaya beach party. Talking to a socialist about socialism is like talking to a wall. The only difference is that a wall won't shoot you in the back of the head. Under socialism, you usually end up facing the wall. Oh wow, we've progressed 1 hour. This video's been on for half an hour. His ideology would have disproportionate negative impact on black people all throughout. I've been charitable and called his ideology prejudice as opposed to Hop himself. You didn't directly say it, but your very first reply kind of makes it abundantly clear what you were trying to do. It would negatively affect very many groups. What would happen is people would move to more welcoming areas, conflict is being avoided. Is that really what the libertarian solution to conflict? Population transfer en masse? Consensual. People own property, it's not up to them if they want to move or not. Excuse my stomach. That's been happening a lot for some reason. My stomach's just been making weird noises. Doesn't matter if I haven't had for a while or I've had recently. For today, I've had recently. Maybe high quality cars for all who needs them, but high performance sports cars, which could only be produced in limited numbers due to handcrafted components, would most probably only be available at racing circuits. People could go to experience driving them. Been talking about subscribers, and they all said they need Lamborghinis too. Can Hungry Santa please bring us 900,000 Lamborghinis? We have all collectively decided that these are self-determined needs. We will be waiting. Also, I said that some of these replies might be offensive, but the offensive reply was another kind of car. Elon Musk boasts that he's inquiring Twitter to defend freedom of speech, but he's long used the platform to attack those who disagree with him. Yeah, but him attacking those who disagree with him is not necessarily him banning them. They still have the free speech to attack him. Because by attack, you mean just like mean words on Twitter and going, you're wrong because this. And Elon is just defending himself saying, actually, I'm right because this. I'm not saying begging journalists to learn what free speech is. I treat the Steam store like the fridge. Keep opening the lid even though I know there's nothing in there I want. Sandyford Clinic, Glasgow, right now. Police have been and say they can't move them on. Where do we go from here? Nicholas Sturgeon and someone else. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners. Abortion is murder. Thou shalt not murder. oh no, uh, people are being against abortion, and the police can't do anything about it because they have every right to be there. It's just a protest, not a riot. It's called freedom of speech. You don't go anywhere, and neither do they. Rights are fun. God, you're such an incel, dick. How is he an incel? Like, this is a... I'm going to assume that Back Off Scotland is a group. It's a group account. It's not a female-owned account. It could be owned and run by a female, but that's different. He's not simping to... Oh, wait. Sorry. No. Wait. I'm getting it wrong. Excuse my bad shifting about. So, what you're saying is... Or at least what I think you're saying is that Marcus being against abortion makes him an incel. Oh wait, he's married. And his wife is not cooking him. He's not in a Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith marital situation right now. My wife and child will be shocked to hear them an incel. Can you guys please come up with a new insult? It'll save you from embarrassing yourself like this. What is the word for someone who defends the indefensible because of something free speech? I get free speech. I even agreed with you when you got into trouble for it, but using it to defend middle-aged men standing outside an abortion clinic, isn't it? Right. I was watching a video by Paul today, and it was like all the people complaining about Roe versus Wade or whatever that thing was called, and all the pro-choicers, people who are for abortion, were basically saying, I don't want men being able to choose whether or not abortion is legal or not. Well, the people who signed off, it was like 9 judges who signed off on Roe versus Wade. They were all men. You had abortion for however many years because of 9 men. You know, supporting someone's right to say something isn't the same as agreeing with what they say, right? Yes. And yes, human right of free speech means people can say things you don't like. That's the point. Yes and yes, but whether you like me or like you may like it or not, some things are not a free speech issue. This is harassment, not free speech. No, it's not. Now, if they got in their faces and were like, you know, you're a real monster for killing these children, which I do agree they are monsters for killing children, but I wouldn't like get up in their face about it. If they're just holding up a sign and probably saying a couple words, that's not harassment. That's the ploy usually used by people who want to take free speech away. These guys are protesting. Protesting means you communicate your stance towards people you disagree with, sometimes loudly. Protesting is an integral part of freedom of speech. For example, I've been surrounded and street by protesters who all yell in my face and not allowing me to get inside a venue by blocking my path. This has happened several times. That would constitute harassment. Should they have been arrested? Maybe next time train your dog to chase off people like this rather than that other thing you did. Ah yes, the Nazi joke he made 6 years ago. I wouldn't do that since they have a right to say I'm a big fan of human rights. It's a shame you don't like human rights. Oh hey, he went to bed. So we're nearly there. Maybe. Probably not. It's not about you, mate. Except you have been making it about him, mate. Those lads clearly have issues and it looks like harassment. How? Like, screenshot that image and draw a circle around the bit where you can see they have issues. Looks like harassing women who are making a very private and difficult decision. Well, if it's private, why do women keep on talking about it? You did what you did for publicity, and there are pros and cons to that, as you've just highlighted. I was using that as an example since it was pretty much the exact same scenario as we were talking about. So, judging by what you've said, when it comes to free speech, when it's people you like and you disagree with the protesters, it's harassment. But when it's someone you don't like and you agree with the protesters, okay, because they deserve it. So, in other words, you're a hypocrite and you only support speech you agree with, meaning you don't believe in the human right of free speech. Thanks for clarifying. No, but lunch break is over and I don't agree with you and you don't agree with me. I think it's important to have limits of free speech. if there's limits to free speech, it's not free speech. What's so hard to understand? But I'm telling jokes. I like to think that is why you did what you did rather than more worrying conclusion. Well, you don't have to worry about the more worrying conclusion because that worrying conclusion is wrong. Marcus is in fact not a Nazi, he's the complete opposite, he's a libertarian. So it was a joke. It was a joke, 90% of people know that. Even the judge agreed. If you think there should be limits on free speech, then by default that makes speech not free, and you don't believe in free speech, but let's agree to disagree. I agree to have no problem with free speech if it's true, but the issue is that a lot of the more extreme stuff's made up, and it's a bigger issue than free speech. Enjoy your day, I'm sorry for the incel comment, I appreciate that, man, thanks. Okay, so this man has apologised, and while I will not recover from the attack on my breath, you know, it does feel good that he apologised when the Socialist Party and Rick and the guy that just goes by Dot haven't. Freedom of speech, not consequences. No religion or man has the right to shame people for choosing their health as a priority. Actually, their freedom of speech means people can say things you don't like. Not a matter of something I don't like, it's a matter of these people who are going for abortion as being unjustly harassed by the religiously indoctrinated bigotry and uneducated, all because of the philosophical question of when is a baby alive. Health first, personal opinions and fragile egos second. Well, when it comes to religion, it's nothing to do with religion. I didn't support abortion when I was atheist, and I actually support abortion more. Not because I'm Christian, but just like I used to be against it completely, but then about like the start of year 12, I realized that like if the mother can die, and like if both the mother and the baby die, but the mother's life could have been saved, then in that case, yeah, I support abortion. But that's it. Rape, incest, etc. No. Have the baby. And that may all be true. They still have a right to protest and they have a right to say those things. Marcus, you should come to the States for a visit this summer. Only going to be 94 degrees today with a heat index 105 degrees. I got Danny's gift card with your name on it. I mean Danny's. Me rolling on Danny's with heat stroke. I don't know why I paused the video to look at that video. I already knew that it was that video. I don't remember what the video was called, but it's just like a rock concert going on in a Denny's. For those who don't know, Denny's is a restaurant chain in America. I don't know if it's fast food or food, for lack of a better term. Yes, experts say protests at SCOTUS and justices' homes appear to be illegal. I don't think this should be illegal. I like free speech. Right, free speechers? Of course, we support free speech in every case. Not just when it suits us. To clarify, if they're on public property, then it's fine. And protect free speech. If they're crossing their private property, start throwing things to damage property, then that's a different matter. Now, based off that wording, Marcus, say I throw an egg on, not at the window or the door or the actual house itself of these people. Say I throw it on their grass or their lawn, as they would say in America, and the egg doesn't break. Is that illegal? Thank God it's over.